Okay, hello everyone. Today we are going to start a new section. So it's going to be an introduction. And we are going to be learning decimals. What are decimals? So decimals are another way, or isn't another way, of expressing fractions. Expressing fractions. So let's say I have one pizza. I'm going to attempt to draw a pizza here. Okay, and usually a pizza is divided up into pieces. I'm going to divide this pizza up into 10 pieces. So it's like that. Like that. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so assuming that this pizza is divided up into 10 equal pieces, let's say I eat one of the piece. I ate one of the piece. Then how much of the pizza did I eat? Well, if you're familiar with fractions, you're going to say that this is 1/10 of the pizza. And that is absolutely right. So that is, here. Okay, so that is 1/10 of the pizza. And another way of writing 1/10 is by using decimals, which is going to be 0.1. 0.1. Okay, so this means one of the 10 pieces have been eaten. Let's say I ate 2 pieces. So let's say I ate this one and this one. What would that be as a fraction? Well, that as a fraction would be 2/10 of the pizza. And as a decimal, that's just going to be 0.2. So this is exactly the same. 2/10 is exactly the same as 0.2. And 1/10 is exactly the same as 0.1. The important thing with decimals is that you need to remember to put the decimal point. This is called the decimal point. You need to put that in the proper place. So because obviously 1 is not the same thing as 0.1. One pizza is not the same thing as eating 1/10 of the pizza. Okay, so we need to remember to put the decimal point. Now, let's say that we have two pizzas. I'm going to divide this up into 10 pieces again. Okay, like this. And second pizza. Now we are assuming that all of the pizza pieces are equal. Okay, let's say that I invited a few of my friends. So that's me, and then I invited 2 more friends to eat pizza with me. And the 3 of us ate one full pizza. So we ate this whole pizza. And we ate 3 more pieces. Okay, so we've eaten the green part. We've ate this whole pizza here, and we've eaten 3 pieces from the second pizza. Now, this as a fraction would be, this is one whole pizza, so that would be 1. And over on this side, we ate 3 pieces out of 10 pieces. So that's 3/10 as a fraction. And as a decimal, 3/10, we can write 3/10 as 0.3. Okay, so 0.3 and 3/10 are exactly the same thing. So if we want to write this whole, how much pizza did the three of us eat altogether, this whole thing, that would be 1 and 3/10. Now this would be the form that you're familiar with fractions. Or the same thing of writing that would be 1.3. Okay, because 3/10 is exactly the same as 0.3. So let me go over something that's very important with decimals, and that is the place values. Okay, so if we have a number 1234 point, remember that's the decimal point. Okay, and then we have a few numbers after the decimal point. So these are all, the 5, the 6, and the 7 are all decimal numbers. Now, do you remember what the place value of this number is? The number 4. So the 4 here is, that just means 4. Okay, so that's the 1 value. So 4 means there are 4 ones. Now the 3 here, this doesn't actually mean 3, this actually means 30, right? So because we read this as 34, not as 34. So this actually means 30. So the 3 here actually means there are 3 tens. So this is the tens place. The 2 here actually means there are 2 hundreds. This is 200. So that's the hundredths place. And the 1 here, it actually means 1000. So that's the thousandths place. Okay, so that's why we read this number as 1234. Now, how about on the other side of the decimal point? So we went over this part. Remember when we wrote 1/10, it was the same thing as 0.1. When we wrote 2/10, it was the same thing as 0.2. So right here, this is 0.5, so that would be 5/10. So this is the 10th place. This is called the 10th place. Okay, so if we have a 5, or whatever number we might have here, that means it's that number over 10. And if you look on this side, what comes after 10? It's 100, right? So using the same logic here, this would be the hundredths place. Or hundredths place, I should say. So if you write this part as a fraction, that would actually be 6 out of 100. Just like the 2 here, the 2 here didn't actually mean 2, it actually meant 200. The 6 here doesn't mean 6, it actually means 6 over 100. So that's why it's called the hundredths place. And what comes after 100? Well, if you look at this, look at the whole number side, it was 1000, then it follows the same logic. That would be 1000, this place. So this 7 actually means 7 over 1000. Okay, so when you see a decimal, when you see a decimal like 0.5, that's the same thing as saying 5/10. If you see a decimal 0.06, that's what we have here, that's the same thing as 6 over 100, because the 6 here is in the hundredths place. Remember, this is the 10th place, this is the hundredths place. And if you have a decimal number like this is in the 10th place, this is in the hundredths place, so this is in the thousandth place, which means that is going to be 7 over 1000. Okay, but be careful. Just because this says thousandth doesn't mean that it's big. Okay, this actually means it's really small. The numbers, the place value of the numbers are the biggest on this side. Or I should say bigger, because thousands is definitely not the biggest place value. It's bigger on this side, and it gets smaller as we go this way. Get smaller and smaller. So the thousandth here is actually the smallest place value that we've learned so far. Okay, so, and also don't confuse the tens with the tenths. Okay, the tens means 10, tenths means 1 over 10. Okay, they're not the same thing. This is smaller, this is bigger. Same thing with hundreds. If we see hundreds, that's not the same. I should write not the same. This is not the same as hundred. The hundredths, which is 1 over 100. This is smaller, this is bigger. And let's see if I have space here. 1,000. Thousandths place is not the same thing as thousandths place, which is 1 over 1,000. And again, this is smaller and this is bigger. This is 100, this is 1,000. Okay, so this is the place value for decimal points. Now, how do you read decimals? It's actually not that hard. Actually, why don't I just scooch this up a little bit? Okay, so if you have a decimal number like this, okay, let's say we have a decimal number like this, and we want to read this decimal number. The whole number part, you already know how to do that. That's 37. 37. And when you see a decimal point, you just say point. Okay, that means that there's a decimal point there. And the numbers after the decimal point, you just read one number at a time. So that would be 4, and then 7, and then 5. So you don't say 37.475. At least you don't usually say that. It's more natural to say 37.475. 475. So you read each of these numbers separately.